Welcome to Walk in the Park. My name is Tony Ingram, your host, and this week we are at episode 94, January 7th, 2015. We Are Seneca Lake is the name of this episode. So you probably are aware, if you live in New York State, you're probably aware that fracking is history, or actually it isn't history. It isn't going to happen. Governor Cuomo decided to follow the conclusions of the New York State Department of Health, and we're not going to have hydrofracking in New York State to get natural gas out of the Marcellus Shale, which has been extremely controversial with lots and lots of public opposition to this very risky technology that's done so much damage to places like Pennsylvania. However, that isn't the end of the story, because the fracking infrastructure like pipelines and storage facilities and distribution depots and what have you is still being built in the state. And one of the projects that's going on still is in Watkins Glen area over in Seneca Lake. This is a picture right in the middle of it. You see that crease across the picture. That is Watkins Glen, the gorge of Watkins Glen in Watkins Glen State Park. And then, of course, right above it is Seneca Lake, and to the extreme right is the village of Watkins Glen. We'll fly around here in these pictures by Bill Hecht, and there's the village. And up the left-hand shore, the west shore of Seneca Lake, you can see a little peninsula there. I think that's called Salt Point. And then we'll go down to Clute Park, which is in the village of Watkins Glen, the south shore of Seneca Lake, and look over to the left, and that is the old International Salt Plant, which I believe is owned by a company now called Crestwood, which is building an enormous depot to store compressed liquefied petroleum gas and methane, some of it probably from fracking and so forth, in salt caverns, because the salt mines in the salt deposits deep underground under Seneca Lake and under the surrounding lands were dissolved out by solution mining, much of it long ago, still going on in the area, but now this company wants to build a storage facility there, a storage depot that could expand tremendously in the future, and it poses risk. Right in the center of this picture is a brine pond, because these empty salt mines, these caverns, are filled with salt brine, and the idea is they're going to pump this pressurized liquefied petroleum gas into the salt mines, and the ponds here will act as reservoirs that'll take the brine out as the gas goes in, and then this will be distributed all over the northeastern U.S., brought here by rail and truck. So there's people that have been opposed to that for years and been fighting it, saying it's not a good idea. This is the entire complex, more or less. You can see the salt plant over there on the right, but those roads, and then you can see the brine pond on the extreme left. That's New York State Route 14 going up the west side of Seneca Lake. Here's again that picture of it. And the plant entrance is on the left. You see the big green lawn areas, and then the other side of the road is a road going into the plant entrance. And that's where there's been a lot of protest activity for quite some time now. And this fall, a group of citizens in the area that were very upset, have been fighting this thing for years, trying to get it to stop, decided to do some action there. And I was asked to come over and videotape some of it, because someone else that normally does that sort of thing was ill. So I agreed, and they had a rally over there called We Are Seneca Lake. This is the name of the group, We Are Seneca Lake. And so there was a big demonstration there on October 24th. So I have recorded much of that, and we will look at the videos that I have taken of some of the people talking there. And you can learn a lot about this issue. You can also learn about it by going to these websites, wearesenecalake.com, gasfreeseneca.com. So let's go right to it here. Here's a cover picture as I bring up the next video.
I'd like to introduce our first speaker, Mr. Lou Damiani, co-owner of Damiani Wine Cellars. Over on that side of the lake. Over on that side of the lake.
World-class wine region. The best lake tourist spots in the world. The Finger Lakes can be considered, just some of the best spots in the world if you want to take a vacation on a lake. The best, some of the wine region after decades. We've been building this wine region for decades, if not for over a century. But we're finally there. We're finally growing beautiful vinifera grapes, making world-class wines for a $3 billion a year annual industry. So you cannot industrialize this area as this project is going to do and think you're going to maintain the tourist industry that we've been building. You can't have it both ways, and this will do that. One accident here. We have one accident here, and what are you going to get when you Google the Finger Lakes? Not wine country, you are going to get gas country. Are we going to let a few politicians like Dennis Fagan, who to me is kind of a mini-me Dick Cheney, and Tom Reed dictate what this area becomes so they can become a little more wealthy and sacrifice everything we worked for? Hell no! Hell no! Crestwood, go home! Are we going to let them turn this into an industrial center? Hell no! Crestwood, go home! Are we going to sacrifice this for the benefit of a very few and the detriment of many? No! Crestwood, go home! Are we going to stop fighting? Hell no! Are we going to let them put our businesses, homes, drinking water, and safety on the line? No! Are we going to put our bodies on the line? Hell yes! Hell yes! Thank
you. By the present owners, Crestwood. While the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation has not permitted this project, a bureau of the federal government, FERC, can from a distance, outside the earshot of the vociferous voices of the Finger Lakes people, issue an out-of-state company a permit to further industrialize the shores of Seneca Lake. No way. Despite the fact that the people of the Finger Lakes have made it known to government agents the significant known risks and increased potential for a major catastrophic industrial accident. Despite the increased air, noise, and light pollution, despite risk of increased salination of Seneca Lake, anyone in their right mind would be grouchy given the facts. But I am not Oscar the Grouch. That is not my nature. I am Will of the winery. And I choose happiness. So today, going forward, I am going to be happy. Happy to visit every single elected representative of mine over and over to completely educate them and present them the facts on Finger Lakes gas storage. And I'm going to be happy to visit this public place to share the facts with any public who want to hear me. And I'm going to be happy to see more and more people of the Finger Lakes come out here to show the world there is nothing silent about the majority. And I am happy today to stand here with all of you who will protect and preserve these waters, shores, and hills for generations to come. Most of all, I am happy to be alive and to live in the precious Finger Lakes of New York, where stewardship of the earth is our heritage, our tradition, our responsibility, and our culture forever. Go home, Crestwood. Thanks, man.
Okay, so now we're going to hear from a representative of the Seneca Lake Pure Waters Association. And we're going to go to an image now. This is throughout the rest of the fall, there has been a blockade of the plant gates, by the way. And these are people that are standing there until trucks try to come, and then some days actually the sheriff's department came and gave them tickets for trespassing. So this has been going on for days and days, many days, weeks, and well over 100 people, I guess, have already done this. But let's go to this other video.
I'd like to introduce our first speaker, Mr. Lou Damiani. Our next speaker, Barb Schieser, is the owner of a lovely bed and breakfast on the west side of Seneca Lake, Sunrise Landing. But she's not here representing her business, although she's one of the 240 plus businesses on our coalition. Barb's here representing Seneca Lake Pure Waters Association, without whom we would not have gotten as far as we have. So without further ado, Barb, thank you very much for coming.
My home and bed and breakfast is in the town of Starkey, right next door. However, this is not a local issue. The expansion of the Crestwood facility is another step in the industrialization of the area, and will affect everyone who lives, works, or plays on the lake or consumes agricultural products from the region, including its award-winning wines. It will affect the 100,000 people who drink water from the lake. It will increase the likelihood of contamination of our air, soil, and water. And there is always the ever-present risk of gas leakage, unpredictable explosions, and sinkholes, such as have occurred in a number of salt cavern facilities of natural gas and LPG. It will put a heavier strain on our infrastructure of roads, bridges, and towns, with significantly more trucks and trains. An accident or explosion will be a disaster for some, but it will affect us all. This is not a local issue. It affects the entire Seneca Lake watershed and beyond. I am here this morning as a board member of Seneca Lake Pure Waters Association. Thank you. We are an apolitical organization founded over 20 years ago to enhance and preserve the quality of Seneca Lake.
Yeah. Yeah, all right.
Our focus is to provide our members and the public with objective information about the lake and its condition. And our mission is to preserve and enhance its waters. We base our information on scientific research produced by others and also funded through our organization. Presently, among our grave concerns is that this project, our grave concerns about this project is that the salinity of Seneca Lake is been found to have the highest saline content of all the Finger Lakes. The results of our recent stream sampling and analysis confirm that the salt level in Seneca Lake cannot be attributed to input from streams alone. Dr. John Halfman's extensive historic research on Seneca Lake indicates that the salinity of the lake cannot be accounted for by salt coming into the lake from the major streams. He has speculated in his publications that the increased salt levels in the lake are probably leaching from the same salt deposits which create caverns that Crestwood is going to use for salt storage.
Yes.
It's for gas storage, I'm sorry. It's a big difference. The hypothesis and the roof collapse in these caverns continue to point at the instability of these caverns for the storage of gas. Highly explosive gases. Neither the salt levels of the lake nor the roof collapse within the caverns have been scientifically addressed in the approval process by the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, nor the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation in their review of the proposal. If they have been addressed, they have certainly not made the results public.
Right.
The only scientific information made public on both of these issues suggests that there is potentially a high risk of collapse of these caverns once they are filled with natural gas and LPG under pressure. Neither the Federal Regulatory Commission, FERC, nor the New York DEC have come forth with any reassurances to residents, businesses, or visitors that to this region that the risks are minimal based on scientific facts. It is the position of Seneca Lake Pure Waters Association that without fully understanding the source of the salinity and the causes of the roof collapse within the caverns, along with an assessment of risk based on such information, that this project should not proceed.
About the saline levels of Seneca Lake, more than 3 times higher than the next salty lake, which is Cayuga Lake, which also has a large salt mine underneath it. And there have been some, was John Dennis here?
Yes.
Mind if I mention this? Dr. John Dennis has done some preliminary sampling of the lake, and his findings, his data shows that the lake may be even saltier than we think. FERC, of course, didn't even consider the salinity of Seneca Lake in making their decision to allow this company to expand the natural gas storage.
Okay. So now we're going to look at some of the rousing chants that came up from this group. So we'll go to that video. And an organization right here in Tompkins County, Sustainable Tompkins, weighed in to lend their support to the the opposition to this big project, and so they had some words to share as well.
So from Sustainable Tompkins.
Hi everybody, my name is Dick Franke. I'm treasurer and board member of Sustainable Tompkins, and I'm going to read a statement that was drafted by our president that many of you may know, Gay Nicholson. Here's what she wrote for this event today. Sustainable Tompkins stands with the residents of the Finger Lakes region opposing construction of Crestwood's methane gas storage in the abandoned salt caverns under Seneca Lake, the heart of a regional economy based on tourism, wine, and farming. But it seems the citizens of our region are, quote, children of a lesser God. At least employees at the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, FERC, seem to think so, as they've granted a permit to Crestwood for this risky project despite allegations of withholding critical geologic data. Apparently, a majority of the Schuyler County Legislature and Reading Town Board accept that their constituents don't have rights to clean air and clean water, as they have acquiesced to the interests of out-of-state corporations. The rail and truck traffic forecast for the depot guarantees significant air pollution in the valley, and the risk of leaks and spills into groundwater or the lake is also very high. In contrast, 4 county legislatures and 9 municipal boards in the surrounding area have voted against the gas depot because it threatens the quality of life, environmental health, and economic well-being of their constituents. A thorough risk analysis led by Dr. Rob McKenzie, retired president of Cayuga Medical Center, was done at the request of a Schuyler County legislator. The risk of a major accident during transport or storage at the facility is estimated at nearly 40% over the next 25 years. That's an exceptionally high risk to force upon the residents of any region. It's also highly probable that the pressurized gas inside the salt regions will force more dissolved salts through the fractures and into the lake bottom and cause rapid increases in the lake's salinity. Seneca Lake has already become the saltiest of the Finger Lakes over the past 60 years of salt mining and gas storage, and is the drinking water source for over 100,000 people. Voters and taxpayers are mobilizing across New York State and declaring that they hold rights that cannot be surrendered to the profit margins of the fossil fuel industry and the political interests of President Obama and Governor Cuomo. The Seneca Gas Depot is just part of the many-headed hydra of methane gas infrastructure expansion the Cuomo administration has welcomed into upstate New York. However, methane leakage rates are documented to be so high that its climate impact is as bad as coal. Given the pace of growing climate disruption, we cannot afford to waste more money on risky gas infrastructure that will have to be abandoned before the bill for climate change escalates. Therefore, methane can no longer be considered a bridge fuel during the transition to greater efficiency and renewable-based power generation. Polls show that many people are ready to make that transition now, and we are seeking political leaders who will help, not hinder, our progress toward true energy democracy. Until we find those leaders, the people are determined to protect their homes and beloved landscapes from risky and foolhardy ventures that enrich wealthy corporations. We refuse to be anybody's sacrifice zone, for we are not the children of a lesser God. Thank you.
Okay, so still more to share with you. Bob Fitzsimmons, who is a local resident, is going to discuss local government in relation to this. So let's go to this other picture of arrests actually taking place here at the site on another day.
My name is Bob Fitzsimmons. Hey, Bob. I've been swimming in that lake since I was a little boy. Just realized I've swum in it over 1,000 times. and I swim with my little grandkids. And that's a mighty important lake to me, as it is to you. Here's the facts. You do not cite a 2 billion cubic foot gas facility using the most dangerous storage technology known, requiring millions of gallons of salt brine storage next to one of America's most beautiful lakes.
Yeah.
You do not use this dangerous technology to store gas in the midst of a thriving tourist economy. So many people know this. Almost every legislature around this lake has voted to oppose it. Senator Mike Nozzolio has said, don't do this. Our neighbors to the north, the Yates County Legislature, all Republican legislature, voted 12-2, don't store gas here. And we know, don't store gas here. We know the value of this lake. We know the value of our homes. And that is something that we're committed to protecting regardless. So this is for immediate release today from Martha Robertson. I borrowed my buddy Carl's glasses, and I'll see if I can struggle through this. Today, congressional candidate Martha Robertson issued the following statement on the citizen protests in Watkins Glen. I am deeply disappointed that FERC has approved the Texas-based Crestwood midstream methane gas storage facility expansion on Seneca Lake. This project has dubious claims on job creation, and the economic and public health risks far outweigh the potential benefits. The Finger Lakes region has a booming tourism industry anchored in the beautiful lakes, growing wineries, and hundreds of other small businesses that are creating jobs and a vibrant local economy. The methane storage facility puts all of this at risk and threatens the drinking water of 100,000 people. I am strongly opposed to the FERC decision and the Crestwood gas storage expansion project.
Okay, so that's all we have time for, that a little bit more. But if you want to get more information, go to either one of these websites or both of them. There's tons on the Gas Free Seneca site in particular, and these actions are being carried out by wearesenecalake.com. Gas Free Seneca is doing more of the legal end of things and information research and so forth. So thank you all for joining me. We will be back next week with another show.